Hi everyone, so welcome back. Join me in my MG. So today I'm going to talk about whether I think it's a good idea to have an MG as a first classic car. Got asked the question the other day, in my opinion, what do I think is good? There's quite a selection now. You can have minis, you can have Morris Minors, you can have obviously MGBs, there's MGAs, there's a vast array of classic cars you can own. In my opinion, I do think the MGB or the MG Midget is probably a good starting car. They're relatively easy to fix, pretty straightforward, basic little cars. Parts for them, there's absolutely tons and tons available out there aftermarket wise, from MG Owners Club, Rimmer Brothers, MGB Hive, loads. And again, they're reasonably cheap as well. If you go for something that's obviously older, chrome bumper and original, more money and less obviously, it needs lots of work. Or you can go for the later rubber bumper stuff, which is generally pretty cheaper because people prefer the chrome bumper look. But all in all, I think there's something there to suit everybody's budget. You don't have to have thousands and thousands of pounds to get started with a MGB, which is what I like. So as you can see, you've got the classic car lines for reasonably priced money, and I mean, what more could you want? I mean, look at it. It looks a lot more vintage than it actually does, considering it's nearly 1980s. But just look at the lines of it. It does just look fantastic. So again, as well, they handle pretty well. Even the rubber bumpers, even though they are slightly taller than the chrome bumpers, I do find this thing, you can throw it into a corner and it does stick quite well, considering the height of it as well. If you look at that, there's quite an arch gap there. Obviously, if you're not happy with the arch gap, you can get a lowering kit for it. So even the little 1.8B series, really straightforward and simple to work on. Obviously, I've changed mine to electronic ignition, but points condensers. Obviously you got your twin carbs, they're relatively easy to set up. Bit of a fiddle to strip and rebuild, unless you know what you're doing. But apart from that, they're fantastic little engines, and the power is actually really surprising. You can cruise quite happily at 50-60 mile an hour. Obviously this has overdrive as well once it gets working, which is even nicer, especially for cruising on the motorway. Excuse that, I need to get that sorted. But also there are some downsides. Rust. These do rust quite easily, especially if they've sat outside most of their life. But again, like I said, you can get near enough every single replacement panel for these things on the internet, and they're not too difficult that you can do the repairs yourself. Obviously, if you're buying a cheaper project, just be prepared to have some work cut out for you, because you're probably going to end up doing some welding. If you're not skilled for it, then I'd probably look at saving a bit of money, or maybe going for something that doesn't require much work. Also, if you're looking at buying a Roadster, check the doors open and shut easy. If they don't open and close easy, it could be a case that the floors could be rotten out and the frame itself is a little bit bent. Mine, absolutely perfect. No problems opening or closing, so I know the frame's pretty solid. I've been underneath this car a few times. I know it is a fairly solid car, a bit of surface rust, but nothing too major. Want something a bit more unique? Obviously, you're not going to stand out at a car show too much with MGB. I went to them recently, and there was 3 MGB Roadsters, 1 GT, and 2 MGCs. So they're pretty common, as they made over 500,000 of them. So there are still quite a few out there on the road. So if you want to stand out a little bit more, then it's not really the car for you. But there are still different advantages. So you could have the V8 one stick out a bit more, the Sebring version, if you put the wide body on it, it might stick out a bit more. But all in all, I think these are pretty fantastic little cars. Thanks for watching everyone, see you in the next video.